I felt something in the hamstring after trying to catch one serve. I could say it didn't affect me too much, to be honest, because I could run well, I could go to the boards well. Obviously, the thoughts about how it's gonna be if I do crazy things that I'm used to do it, how it's gonna be. So those thoughts were in my mind sometimes, but I could play well. So don't get me wrong, because I'm not gonna say I could play better or I could do something better if my hamstring were well, because I could play a really good tennis with it, and the lose is because he deserved it.
Carlos Alcaraz hasn't touched a tennis court since suffering a hamstring injury at the ATP Finals against Jannik Sinner 21 days ago. His body literally said enough during that match in Turin, and everyone wondered when he'd be back. Now he's returning with not one but two exhibition matches in the United States before starting his preseason. The ATP world is watching closely because if he's not fully healthy, the 2026 season could be in serious jeopardy before it even starts. Here's my question. Should Alcaraz really be playing exhibitions right after an injury instead of just resting? Drop your thoughts below, because this decision is raising eyebrows. Carlos Alcaraz is coming back to competitive tennis after his hamstring injury at the ATP Finals, and he's doing it through exhibition matches. Not exactly the safest or most conventional route, but that's the choice he's making. 21 days since his body gave out against Jannik Sinner in Turin, and instead of taking it easy, he's scheduled two back-to-back exhibitions against top-level opponents. The first match is Sunday at the Prudential Center in New York or New Jersey area against Francis Tiafoe. Then barely a day later, he faces Brazilian João Fonseca at Loan Depot Park in Miami. Two matches in 2 days against legitimate competition while supposedly recovering from an injury that kept him out of the Davis Cup. Make it make sense. The injury happened during the ATP Finals when Alcaraz suffered an edema in his hamstring. That's not a minor tweak or a small strain. That's significant enough that he couldn't participate in the Davis Cup in Bologna, which is a tournament that actually matters for national pride and team competition. But exhibitions in America? Sure, why not? The logic is fascinating.
Well, it was it was tough. To be honest, it was a really important day and a half that I had, to recover as good as I can. I would say I have the best physio in the world, which I trust 100%. But in general, I think I played a great tennis, a great match, good performance from my side. Even though I was thinking about the ankle a little bit, but overall, I'm just really happy with my performance.
Now, preseason training officially starts December 13th in Vienna, which is coming up fast. So these exhibitions are supposedly a chance for Alcaraz to test his physical condition at a key moment before diving into serious training. The theory makes some sense. Better to find out if the hamstring holds up during an exhibition than during an actual tournament. But playing two matches in 2 days after a serious injury? That's pushing it. Alcaraz has been criticized many times for his fondness for exhibitions. People point out that he complains about the demanding tennis calendar, about how exhausting the tour is, and then he travels around the globe all year playing exhibition matches. The contradiction is glaring. You can't say the schedule is killing you and then voluntarily add more tennis to your calendar. But Alcaraz has defended this by explaining that exhibitions aren't as demanding as tournaments. According to him, the main difference is that in tournaments you have to stay focused across multiple days and rounds. It's physically and mentally demanding. An exhibition is just one day where you focus, warm up, prepare for a match, and that's it. No pressure of advancing to the next round, no rankings points on the line, no extended tournament week. That explanation has some merit, but it also conveniently ignores that exhibition matches still require physical exertion. You're still running, hitting, moving side to side, putting stress on your body. If your hamstring isn't fully healed, it doesn't care whether the match is an exhibition or a Grand Slam final. The injury risk is the same. And this pattern isn't stopping. Starting in 2026, Alcaraz is beginning his season with another exhibition, this time in South Korea, against Jannik Sinner on January 10th. That's 8 days before the Australian Open starts. So instead of using those final days before the year's first major to rest, acclimate to Melbourne, and prepare strategically, he's flying to Korea for an exhibition. The South Korea exhibition has generated interesting comments from both Alcaraz and Sinner. They did a joint interview for Tennis Korea promoting the match, and both talked about their rivalry and what it means for tennis. Sinner said this match is a great opportunity not only for him but also for Carlos, that playing in front of Korean fans is incredibly special. He also mentioned it helps him regain rhythm before the Australian Open, getting the feel for the game back on court. That rhythm argument keeps coming up. Both players frame these exhibitions as preparation tools rather than just money grabs. Whether you believe that depends on how cynical you are about professional sports and athlete motivations. Alcaraz talked about how their rivalry is a real honor for him as a player, that it means a lot that tennis fans feel engaged watching their matches. He referenced being inspired by the Nadal-Federer rivalry during his childhood, and expressed hope that his rivalry with Sinner can continue positively and help them both grow together. Sinner echoed similar sentiments, saying rivalries are a fundamental part of tennis. He mentioned the era of Federer, Nadal, Djokovic, and Murray, and how rivalries have always existed throughout tennis history. He said he and Alcaraz play a fundamental role in the appeal of the sport, and he's glad to be developing that kind of relationship with Carlos. All very diplomatic and professional. But here's the thing. These two are already playing each other constantly in actual tournaments. They met 6 times in 2025. Alcaraz won 4 of those matches. Sinner won 2. They've played in Grand Slam finals, Masters 1000 finals, the ATP Finals. They don't need exhibitions to maintain their rivalry or create storylines. The rivalry exists organically through actual competition. The promotional aspect is obvious. These exhibitions generate money for the players, money for the organizers, and attention for tennis in markets like South Korea that don't typically host major tournaments. That's the real purpose. The getting rhythm before the Australian Open explanation is secondary at best. Alcaraz said in his interview that Sinner is a player practically without weaknesses, that he's powerful in attack and incredibly fast and stable on defense. He dominated the 2025 season, winning 2 Grand Slams, the ATP Finals, and fighting for world number 1 until the end. Playing well against him isn't enough. You have to maintain concentration throughout the entire match with no room for complacency. That's accurate. Sinner had an incredible 2025, and the rivalry between him and Alcaraz is genuinely compelling. But again, we're seeing that rivalry play out in tournaments that matter. The exhibitions are bonus content, not essential viewing. Sinner described Alcaraz as one of the best players on the current circuit, perhaps even the best. He said playing against him is always a challenge, but also very fun, that every match has a completely different story and rhythm. He praised Alcaraz's speed, mental strength, and ability to play every point as if it were the last. The mutual respect is genuine and refreshing. Both players seem to genuinely appreciate each other's games and understand that their rivalry elevates both of them. That's healthy and good for tennis. It's just unfortunate that it's being used to promote exhibitions that neither player probably needs to play. The most interesting comment from Alcaraz about the South Korea exhibition was that this kind of match is a great opportunity to assess my physical condition and feel better before the Australian Open. That's essentially admitting these exhibitions are glorified practice sessions with an audience, which is fine, but then own that instead of pretending they're essential preparation. The Australian Open is clearly Alcaraz's main goal for early 2026. It's the only Grand Slam he hasn't won. He's got the French Open, Wimbledon, and US Open. Australia is the missing piece. At 22 years old, he's got plenty of time to complete the career Grand Slam, but obviously he'd like to do it sooner rather than later. The pressure on that tournament is real. Everyone knows it's the one he's missing. Every loss there will be scrutinized through that lens. So in theory, using exhibitions to test his physical condition before Melbourne makes sense. In practice, risking re-injury by playing exhibitions after a serious hamstring problem is questionable decision-making. There's also the financial aspect that can't be ignored. The ATP actually penalizes players for not playing all the Masters 1000 tournaments. Alcaraz finished as world number 1 in 2025, but didn't play all the Masters 1000 events, which cost him a significant bonus. He would have been entitled to $4.88 million if he'd played them all. But the rule dictates this reward is reduced by 25% for each Masters 1000 not played due to withdrawal or injury. So Alcaraz lost half his Christmas bonus, as some outlets phrased it, because of tournament absences. That creates financial incentive to make up lost earnings through exhibitions, which pay appearance fees that can be substantial. Top players can command hundreds of thousands or even millions for exhibition appearances depending on the market and event. The ATP's bonus structure for playing all the Masters. 1,000 events is designed to incentivize players to show up to these tournaments and not skip them strategically. But when players get injured, they lose that bonus money through no real fault of their own. That creates pressure to supplement income through other means, like exhibitions. It's a complicated ecosystem where the tour wants players at all the big events, players want to manage their schedules and health, and everyone needs to make money. Exhibitions exist in that weird space where they're technically voluntary but practically necessary for maintaining income levels and market presence. Alcaraz's off-court activities during his Miami trip have been entertaining. He attended a Miami Heat NBA game and was given a jersey by the mascot. Then he went to an Inter-Miami soccer match where Lionel Messi plays, witnessed them thrash New York City 5-1 in the Eastern Conference Final, and was on the field exchanging greetings with Messi, Suarez, Busquets, and Jordi Alba. He received a special Inter-Miami jersey with number 99 and was seen in good spirits meeting with Messi. They'd previously met at the Laureus World Sports Awards in 2023, so this wasn't their first interaction. After the match, Alcaraz said it was a very beautiful experience. These celebrity-athlete interactions are fun content and good for Alcaraz's brand. Being seen with Messi, one of the greatest athletes in any sport, elevates his profile beyond just tennis fans. But it also raises the question of whether someone supposedly recovering from a hamstring injury should be running around Miami, attending multiple sporting events, and doing media appearances. The optics are weird. If you're injured enough to miss the Davis Cup, which represents your country, you should probably be resting and rehabbing rather than attending Heat games and Inter-Miami matches. Unless the injury wasn't actually that serious, which would make missing Davis Cup even more questionable. The message from Alcaraz that he's making changes in training ahead of the Sinner match suggests he's analyzing what went wrong physically and trying to adjust. That's smart. Hamstring injuries often result from overuse, inadequate preparation, or muscle imbalances. If his training can address those issues, he's less likely to re-injure the same area. But the proof will be in how he holds up once actual competitive tennis starts. Exhibition matches against Tiafoe and Fonseca will give some indication, but the real test comes in Melbourne when the stakes matter and the matches are best-of-5 sets over potentially 2 weeks. The rivalry with Sinner is genuinely compelling and good for tennis. Having two young players at the top who are both likable, talented, and competitive creates storylines that draw casual fans. The sport needs that after years of the big three dominating. Now that Nadal is retired, Federer is retired, and Djokovic is nearing the end, Alcaraz and Sinner stepping into those roles is exactly what tennis needs. But it also needs them healthy and competing in tournaments that matter, not burning themselves out with excessive exhibitions. Carlos Alcaraz is returning from hamstring injury with back-to-back exhibition matches, then another exhibition before the Australian Open. He's defending it as rhythm preparation, but the injury risk is real, and the schedule is questionable. If you think Alcaraz is making the right call or playing with fire, hit that like button and subscribe for more tennis analysis. Because when a player complains about the calendar, then adds more matches, somebody needs to point out the contradiction.